on putting the body before the self. Let's start with Erich Fromm's striking question. If I am defined by what I have, then who am I if I lose them? One of the most distinctive characteristics of the modern age is that people construct their identity constructs through their bodies. In this environment where society increasingly takes on a visual-centered structure, appearance is emphasized rather than profound personality elements. The individual's self, thought, and character layers have been left in the background. This situation points to a strange drift expressed by Søren Kierkegaard with the statement, "The greatest misfortune is that a person is not who he is." Today, people's perception of reality is often confined to the narrow boundaries of visual platforms. Transient and superficial representations in this world of shadows and symbols replace permanent truth. Plato's statement, "Appearance, when deprived of the light of reason, condemns a person to the slavery of illusion," also points to precisely this situation. Nietzsche's description of Superman is about the individual creating his values and manifesting his existential will. The Superman goes beyond social norms and ready-made values and enters the process of self-realization to pursue his inner potential. However, the dominant tendency in the modern world is to define oneself through physical exaltation rather than the profound nature of this creative act. Plastic surgery interventions, digital filters, and cultural elements that idealize physical appearance draw individuals into a superficial competition over a synthetic body. The effort and energy spent to perfect the body destroy the power of the person to be himself and reach a higher level of existence, depriving him of the possibility of being virtuous. Jean Baudrillard's concepts of simulation and simulacra also indicate that identities constructed through visuality blur the borderline between truth and illusion. According to him, today's society is filled with representations that copy reality, and as these copies are reproduced repeatedly, a stage called hyperreality is reached. In such an environment, instead of experiencing the fact, society is entertained with its media-based, aesthetic, and digitally reconstructed forms. The individual's body is also condemned to be made visible and easily marketed in this simulation universe. Although the images displayed on social media platforms or the silhouettes improved with aesthetics do not give a clue about the essence of identity, self-expression inevitably turns into self-disclosure. This situation causes a pathological situation where representations replace reality, and the person attracted to being visible drifts away from his essence and into a delusion where the image is considered the absolute value. The body image is attached to a temporary outer shell because it can change at any moment due to age, illness, accidents, or many other factors. On the other hand, the thoughts, beliefs, values, character, and intellectual accumulation that form the basis of identity have the potential for relative permanence. In contemporary society, consumer culture constantly produces new needs through body and appearance, and the economic system introduces products, services, and discourses to meet these needs. Thus, popular culture commodifies bodies and reduces them to the status of objects of taste and desire. As a result, it is inevitable for personality to melt away in this world of aesthetic spectacle. The real danger is that the individual, by delaying their unique development, cannot spare time for value creation and is deprived of inner richness. Thus, being gives way to appearing, and the person moves away from their truth. Constructing one's identity through the body causes tension between the apparent and the essence. While Plato says that the body is a mortal form prone to illusions, Nietzsche emphasizes the necessity of man transcending himself through an inner transformation. On the other hand, Baudrillard speaks of the loss of reality in the age of simulation, where visuality reigns. The common point that these thinkers point out is that in a plane where physical appearance is given excessive importance, the human soul is inevitably deprived of depth. The settlement of aesthetics at the core of existence can potentially overshadow the individual's responsibility towards himself and society. In a plane where visuality is substituted for personality, a cry for depth and truth that is missed individually and socially is rising. The way to reconnect with ancient depth is through inner questioning, seeking wisdom, and keeping the integrity of body and mind in a healthy balance. In contemporary societies, the construction of personal identity is increasingly reduced to physical appearance, almost as if the individual's external appearance is the only way to reveal himself. People tend to improve and reflect on their bodies rather than develop a deeper intelligence, character, and moral understanding. Although this tendency may seem like a product of digital media and consumer culture at first glance, it has been evaluated through the lens of philosophers from ancient Greece to the present, revealing the long-standing tension between surface and essence, appearance and reality. Putting physical appearance before virtue and wisdom means surrendering to the world of shadows instead of seeking the light of truth. Nietzsche's call for the Superman is an invitation to develop the power of man to invent new values by overcoming his limitations. However, modern society distorts this principle by identifying it with a narrow aesthetic understanding and taboo. The body is shaped, adorned, and filtered. Thus, Nietzsche's desire to be a Superman is confined to the narrow boundaries of biology. As Baudrillard points out, signs and images are now lost in a self-referential system, without referring to any underlying reality in contemporary society. As a result, a strange situation called hyperreality emerges. Social media constructs an imaginary body-based identity in which images are organized, edited, filtered, and reshared rather than providing news and information. Psychological destruction will be inevitable when the body admired today is exposed to rude and condescending looks tomorrow. In putting the body before the self, the person's moral compass, intellectual sensitivity, and emotional depth will inevitably be left alone, with the painful result of being pushed to the background. People will face the danger of moving away from the transformative potential within them to the extent that they spend effort pursuing a flawless external appearance. However, the great victory lies not in the attempt to make the natural body perfect with various arrangements, but in the ability of the person to create a self that transforms life experience into a higher synthesis.